All things Bulldogs, mate.
All things Bulldogs, YouTube, Tuesday night.
Tuesday
night.
That's it. Every week, mate.
All things Bulldogs. Big shout out. Up the doggies.
Every Tuesday night we do a podcast, mate. Our big supporters, mate. All things Bulldogs. Yeah. Josh.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to All Things Bulldogs. We've got Gas again and myself, and we'll have a special guest which we'll introduce in a few minutes. So get excited, people, because got a few people been waiting on the chat already. Already got 21 viewers, so you can give you a pretty good rundown of what's happening tonight. Fair bit to talk about. Gus has been on fire today, just answering Twitters all day, or X's, or whatever you want to call them. I posted a few, and as I did, there was more coming out. So we're definitely going to talk about them all. But welcome to everyone who's joined. We've got Timmy, we've got Elaine. Good evening to you, Elaine. Zreg, Showy68, Joel McAvoy's on here. G'day, Joel. Welcome to you. Happy New Year to Elaine. G'day, Timmy Gray, who's got a nice, beautiful introduction to us all. And James Formosa, good evening to you as well. And everyone else who pops on to say hello, including Bulldog Mike 75. How are you, Gas? Tell me what's happening, brother. What are you
Welcome
doing?
to 2026, mate, the year of the Bulldogs.
That's it.
Hey, we've warmed up now the last season and a half, and now we're ready for an onslaught this year.
I'm fired up, man.
It's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a really good year for us. Everything is moving in that direction, and it all starts in Vegas in 53 days.
53 days. Guys, big shout out to Gas, who's been doing the every day on his date break defense, and he's put it on All Things Bulldogs. It's been shared across a few groups. Joe Mariana's been sharing it on Ultimate Bulldogs to Berries. You know, so many stats on there, and it's getting a bigger and bigger following every day. So good job. I know it takes a lot of time to actually search that stuff up, so I really appreciate it, mate. And it lines up really well. So number 55, it was the 55th game where we won our first grand final. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. We beat the Roosters 19-6 in 1938 for our first premiership. So that was in our third season, and it took us, 55 games to be premiers. It was
pretty good.
It was a great game too, but it was exciting stuff. So yeah, lots of stats, a lot of things I've been seeing in there. So always seeing something different. Some very interesting referee stats I was looking at today as well. So there's two referees that we've had that have only refed us 7 times, and we've had 7 wins under those refs. 100% strike rates. So it's a shame that they're not still reffing us now, but that was one of them was in the 70s and one was in the 90s. One of them was Ian Parnaby, you might remember. But yeah, 7 games and 7 wins. But some other interesting stats that we've got. So you'll see those come out tonight when I post number 53. But there's plenty of good stuff as we count down to 0 round Vegas Dragons launch.
I can't wait, mate. It's getting exciting, and every day the countdown gets closer. And for us, we're running out of time to get to Vegas. It's
funny enough,
magically make it happen. Like I'm waiting for someone to start the GoFundMe as the next desperate thing. I'm willing to do tricks. I'm willing to go rancid on people live if they want me to. I'm willing to talk as the dog father for hours and hours. Willing to sell myself in numerous ways to get to Vegas. But look, guys, we've got a few people on now, so that's great. What we're going to do is we'll talk about what's happening around the league a little bit. Some few headlines out there, a lot of stuff to talk about, especially, as I said, we're going to talk about Cassius Tia. I've sort of been teasing it for quite a while, was quite aware of it, but just, I'm never going to say these things. And it's not a case of me coming out saying I know everything, because I don't. don't know everything before it happens at all, but there are some things that you hear about or you learn and you just can't say nothing. Mitch Woods, so we get to talk a lot about that. Jahreme Bula. Now, Joel has just jumped on, actually. He's been messaging me about Jahreme Bula for ages and showing me a lot of some little snippets from the Tigers online forums, similar things to like the kennel.net and stuff like that. Now, like any forum, 95% of the stuff that's thrown out there is just absolute rubbish as far as predictions go or news or noise. But this is getting louder and louder, and I think there might actually be a little bit more legs to it. I think Bula is someone that the Bulldogs might be chasing. But that's just my personal belief based on it's not something that I desperately want either. It's something I'd be happy with, but we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll look at the competition as well for naming our best, whether it's our 17 or best 19. I might just make it the 19, just in case, because they usually have two fresh people they want to keep as well anyway. So we'll talk about the competition. And then we'll get our guest supporter on as well, who obviously we tend to ask these guests we get on a little bit about themselves and their love for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. And, you know, plus all of your stuff that you raise as well, happy to talk about as much as we can in the time that we have regarding your thoughts and your predictions and your questions surrounding the Bulldogs and wider NRL and whatever else we're thinking about. You know, as I said, dogfathermedia.com.au. Go to my Patreon page on All Things Bulldogs. If you go there, there's lots of great things happening at Patreon, and they, you know, and the artists and people on there and the podcasters get more of the money that gets deposited there. So that's pretty much it. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that, Gas, before we move into it?
Mate, let's get going, mate. Let's rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll. All righty. So welcome to everyone who's joined. We've got about 40, 50 people watching at the moment, which is fantastic. Great to hear. So let's rip that Band-Aid off in regards to, I think we'll talk about Cassius Mitchell and, you know, early stuff heading into Vegas and training. And then we'll introduce our supporter. How's that sound, Gas? That sound good? Oh, Gas is frozen a bit there.
Yep. That's cool. I think yours was frozen, mate. Ours was okay.
Every time you freeze, you think I'm freezing. It's a funny thing. I'm freezing. No, it's you. It's you. No, it's you. G'day. Just say a quick shout out to a few people who have already joined us on the podcast. Zayad Amalaj, Don Williams, and everybody else. Hopefully I've said hello to everyone so far. So let's get into it. Cassius Tia. Now, we talked about Cassius a little bit. You know, I put him down as, in one of my articles, as one of the players I predicted to make their debut in 2026. That still may happen. I'm not sure where he's gone, not necessarily understanding the reasons why. But it's just one of these scenarios that, you know, they've got a lot of young halfbacks in the side. They've got Woods, we've got Galvin, we've got Matt Burton in the side. They obviously, you know, people are saying Burton's basically gone. Well, I don't think there's any indication that that's what this club wants, and I don't think Burton wants that either. And it's not just going to be a thing where he's going to go into the centres to accommodate a player that's never played NRL before. So we've got those situations. We've got young Joseph Taupa, who's a lot of photos of him in the preseason. okay. We've got young Matthew Barakat, who looked really good in some of the early SG Ball trials. So we get to see more of them. There's a couple more trials coming up on the 9th, I think. Actually, I've got Elaine provided me those before. So lots of trials coming up for the young kids to have a look what they're doing. On the 17th versus Para, then the 24th versus Sharks will be trials for SG Ball. So that'll be interesting as well. There's a lot of our future kids there. So, look, to tie all this back to Cassius Tia, there's a lot of competition there. And Gus, this isn't really popping up openly on Gus's feed, but someone asked about, basically had a crack to say, like, if you put Mitch Woods' defence is no good, and if you put him with Galvin, you've got two halves that can't tackle. Gus just smashed the comment to pieces and basically said, you don't play at Canterbury unless you're making tackles as a halfback. So it's not always about, as I've always said, you might miss some tackles, but if you're putting your body there and putting your body on the line and getting yourself in front and competing and getting off your line and still trying to play both sides of the ruck, playing the structure, trying to play field position, getting your passing game on, doing all your kicking and putting yourself out there to make your tackles, this club's going to keep on investing. And that's what we're seeing. So the kids that are still playing in our system and are getting the pathway there are doing all that. Don't know what happened with Cassius. I believe the kid has a really strong future and could play in the NRL, but who knows? Who knows? I have no idea. But there was some words that he was not going to be at the club, and I hadn't seen hide or hair of him. So from anything coming through and people who have been scouting and having a look for the Dogfather and co. Have said they haven't seen much or heard much. So, yeah, the writing was on the wall there. It is a little bit sad, but I'm so wrapped in the talent that we've got coming through. And that's hard to keep that talent as well, keep that going when there's really high opinions of players like Galvin, Woods, and obviously you got Matt Burton there as well. So they bring in a Sean O'Sullivan. He's played in grand final winning teams. He's played in grand final winning structures. He's a very good trainer. There's some really good stuff coming out about him, which Gas heard as well. And has been echoed by a few different people. So, you know, he could be another one popping his head up to really push hard for selection. What's your thoughts on Cassius Tia, mate?
Look, I mean, if you remember, Panthers, every time they've had success, they've been shedding players. We've started to now build something at the Bulldogs pretty special. And yes, we've brought a few players in like Galvin and a few others that, you know, every time we bring someone in, someone has to, fall further down the pecking order. Some of these players, you know, their managers, as you've said in the past, they start to get a bit antsy and they say, you know, I feel like I can get you a start somewhere. We can get you more money. Because correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Cassius still signed for 2026 anyway? Then they extend his contract off memory. So
yeah, they extended him into 2026. So
yeah, so yes,
it was apparently a development deal.
Yeah,
and it looked like we had about 7 or 8 people, on even 9, on our development squad. So that looked a bit deep, based on the rules around it and stuff. So eventually, Gus is going to answer, yep, they're with us at the time, because he was asked about Cassius about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And he said, yep, he's with us. Today he was asked, is he still with us? The answer was no. So, some people are going to start to catastrophize, as they do, call for an emergency meeting to sack the board. Well, they might do that in 3 years if Cassius ends up becoming a superstar in the NRL. And look, there's nothing to say he can't. And I'm sure the people at the club will be rooting for him to do that. I don't know what's happened there, but yeah, he's not with us anymore, and that's all there is to it.
Ultimately, Mick, we've got something called the salary cap, which every team's got, and that dictates a lot of what we do. I mean, we're in a very, very strong position now, as you've just mentioned, and run off quite a few names of talent that's coming through the ranks. We're in a position that we haven't been in for a long time. We've had this problem before, but we haven't had it for a long time. So it's a good problem to have. And along the way, we're going to be losing players. Now, what we don't see all the time is what is happening behind the scenes when what the coaches are looking at, all these sort of ticks and measures that they look at that allow them to see who they believe is ready for the next step and who they think can be someone worth keeping or not. On paper, everyone looks good for us, especially some of the supporters who just get excited. It's same as what's happening at the moment with Mitch Woods and that sort of bandwagon to just throw him straight into first grade when people don't really, have that patience to wait and see exactly what he's like, and he has to earn that spot. Same thing's going to happen with a lot of these youngsters that we've got that are touted as something coming through the ranks eventually. So we just have to wait and see. If the player's been let go, there's usually a very good reason for it. And sometimes the Dogs are not going to be one to stand in the way of a player that may get an opportunity to start their career somewhere else. That's not something they'd want to do. If it was worth keeping, then they'd throw the book at them and keep them themselves. But I think there's a reason why someone like that wouldn't be signed, and we're going to trust the coaching staff and the club, and keep moving with the players we've got now. So, we've got a great amount of depth, and it's going to be good for us to see what's going to happen moving forward with all the other younger players as well.
Wonderful, Gas. We're going to move into a couple more topics, and then we'll get our supporter on. Just want to say hello to Dimitra Vlahos, really good friend of ours. It was lovely to myself and Renee and my daughter when we went there, the whole family. And, yeah, she's saying hello on the chat. So great to see you, Dimitra. Two children, love the Bulldogs a lot. And, it's great to see. Beautiful people. Also, welcome to Jamie Teamsdale. Put a bloody jumper on. Is it cold in Ipswich or something, is it? Gas was Mr. Freeze. Oh, there you go.
Right. Usually when I freeze, there's a little thing that circles on mine. It didn't do it. That's why I thought it was yours.
There you go.
Usually
Daniel
it just goes white and I get a little spinning circle.
James, and thank you to everyone who's a member of the channel. Really, really appreciate it. Really helps a lot. That I pay for this in US dollars, but anyway, it's a big help. And thank you to so many people who've continued to join. It makes a big difference. Simon Halibi, welcome to you. Good to see Duck Rupted back here again. And anyone else? We've got Lucky. Yeah, I only just worked it out, Jamie. Sorry, mate. Hello again to you, Joel. Welcome, brother. And, we're doing this. We're going to talk all things Bula for you tonight, brother. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So, Jahreme Bula speculation before we get into a bit more Mitchell Woods. So, basically on the most sort of clear-cut stuff that we're hearing is that Jahreme is looking at it. They're looking at a 3-year deal from 2027. Now, are the Bulldogs going to be chasing him? I think if he's talking to clubs, I think we would definitely be talking to him. I would have no doubts about that. But I also think, and this is the big thing that goes along with it, is I really do believe that Connor Tracy would be a priority for them to try and keep him, whether it's a 1-year extension, whether it's hopefully on a deal that suits both parties. So probably not top tier money would be good for the Bulldogs, but I'm sure Connor would come under consideration at many clubs because he was one of the best fullbacks last year. There's no doubt about that for the work effort that he put in. He has some strengths and weaknesses, but what I will say about Connor is I expect him, barring injury, to go to another level this year as well, just like I expect Stephen Crichton to be in that conversation. So, and the fact they've gone and bought a whole heap of fullbacks, as in junior kids, and knowing some of the talent of kids that have played a lot of fullback that, in my opinion, would be really good at fullback, like CJ Uday, and hopefully he'll get that opportunity to do so more often through SG Ball. But he's up against some pretty good talent. So the kids that we've basically brought in for that fullback role. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my note. I'm just trying to find my notes.
Brenton.
We've got David Bryanton, Raymond Puru, Tay Dykes, and also Tay Cochran there. So that's 4 fullbacks. They're not all going to play fullback for Canterbury. But if they're good enough, they might come through as wingers, centres, and potentially as a fullback. But what you want at your club is depth. So there's a lot of, obviously the club would be, if they are looking at Bula, they would also be wanting to keep talking with Tracy, because if Bula decides not to go to Canterbury, well, you don't want to, lose your opportunity with the one that you've already got, who, since he's been at the club for 2 years, we've made the finals. And he's been really one of our best players. Whether people believe that he has got the ability to be a premiership winning fullback or not, we've made the finals twice, and we made the top 4 with Tracy as our fullback for that entire period that set up our season so that we could make the top 4 before getting injured and having to sort of work his way back to be fit for a final series. So, look, I think, there's a lot of talent brewing in our club, but that talent's going to take a while to develop. And, and that's a good situation for our club. This is sort of where we're at now, where, we're nowhere near where Penrith were. But remember, Penrith had that in their system as they were emerging. They had this young Stephen Crichton coming through, who they paid $650,000 for after he'd played about 10 games. And they had Dylan Edwards, who was on less money than Crichton for the entire time Crichton was there. People don't understand that. Dylan Edwards, who was this premiership winning fullback, was getting paid less than Stephen Crichton, who was only starting his career. So that's why once they made the decision that, well, Edwards has earned his spot here, they've had to let Crichton go, sort of thing. And Stephen Crichton could end up as a fullback at the Bulldogs as well. No one's discounting that. Jahreme Bula, what a great player. Obviously would come to the Bulldogs, improve his defence, improve his positional play, and, bring that flair. And he's got a really good mate here. He's got the same manager as Kurt Mann and Lachlan Galvin, and as of Sean O'Sullivan, I think. I think they're all with what's his face? I've forgotten his name now. I'm sure it'll be, their player manager, the one that gets all the crap at him.
Isaac Moses.
Yeah, there you go. That's my thoughts on Bula. It would be nice, but at the same time, I don't think it's absolutely essential. But if they're chasing him hard, to me, that doesn't rule out that Connor Tracy just is left out of the equation. I think Connor and players like Cade Dykes have all got the opportunity to be Bulldogs for long term. It's just a lot's going to depend on how they play this year. And our fans have huge expectations, as so do the players. Do we have enough pieces to fit the puzzle to compete for the premiership? Let's hope so. But as we always know, to knock the Penriths, to knock the Storms out of the equation, and then you got a Broncos side, which has developed 4 or 5 of the best young forwards in the competition in their side. Then you add the Roosters and everyone else into it. All these teams that have recruited really well, expected to rise. The Dogs have got a big fight on their hands, and they know it. And if they're good enough, we'll see them produce. These players will write their own ticket into our team past 2026. What's your thoughts on Bula, mate?
Mate, if it was up to me and we did get Bula, let's say in 2027, then I would still have Tracy in there, potentially replacing someone like a Montoya, who'd be sort of getting towards the end of his career, and having him on the wing as he's done many times before, even with the Sharks. So, and he's obviously, entering into his 30s as well. So, it's not someone I'd like to let go of, but, there's a lot of options there. But someone like a Bula would add a lot of that additional flair and sort of give us a bit of that, Reece Walsh factor to our team, which is, as you've seen, it's premiership winning, that kind of form at the right time of year. So having a Bula for us gives us that little bit more creativity in attack, and that sort of coming off the back there. You've seen what he can do when he's sort of, elusive and dangerous. And we haven't sort of had anything sort of similar to that since probably the days of Ben Barber for us. That used to create a lot of that for us. So, and then from there, it was the rest of it used to just take care of itself with the team. So yeah, definitely, I could see why the Bulldogs would be looking at someone like that. And in our system, whatever defensive challenges he may have, I think that would be taken care of through the coaching staff and everything else, and the focus that Sorrell that puts into the defence. So. But yeah, not something that we should be sort of thinking won't happen, but it would make sense now when you look at players like Curran that they might be letting go. It might be, they've got a lot of depth in that area, and that would free up salary space with someone who's more up and coming. For example, letting go of Curran, which would allow us in 2027 to have a little bit more money to spend on a Bula to bring them in for whatever it might be, 2 or 3 years. So that's sort of how I'd be going with it at the moment. But like you said, it remains to be seen until Gus has a meal at the Chinese restaurant. Who knows?
Beautiful stuff, mate. Obviously, a lot of people would be excited by it. Feel free after the podcast to go and put in some comments into the actual to the YouTube. Sit there and a lot of people do. They put comments on there, share it around. If you got people who know it, let them see it. Make sure you've subscribed, and if you want to join, please join. It helps a lot. And thank you to everyone who has joined already. While we're still on it, I know other people have said stuff, but Bulldog Nick, and g'day to you, Nico. Good to see you, mate. He's got speed, which we need, and he has X factor. He's also a very good age. A knock would be he ain't a ball player, which I think you need to be as a fullback. Yeah, well, I sort of look at that as well, mate, and I agree that you buy this kid as a footballer. It doesn't necessarily have to be your fullback. You could have a very good side full of X factor and a lot more depth if you got players like that. And if you can keep a Connor Tracy there, you've got someone who can play centre, wing, fullback, half, 5'8", probably come on and play hooker or whatever, He could play anywhere, Connor Tracy. Small lock. Although his defensive work needs work, but it's got better. You saw those 2 tries he made on a kid. Now, I know that Blaze Talangi is a bit of a rookie, but what they say about Talangi is the reason he's a great finisher is because he's tough as nails. Like, he's hard as, and for Connor Tracy to stop him twice was massive last year for us. And that's always in my head, the defensive side of things. And I think that's very, very important. He was very good in the championships. Simon, no, we're not saying he's coming to the Dogs. There's just people saying that in the West Tigers forums. There's some whispers going around as well that we might be after him. And it would just make sense that if he's on the market that we would be interested. Like it wouldn't be something that would be too, that's an easy one for the media to speculate about and one that they could get right. Not one that they just make up for fun like they do half the time. Look, the media will even go onto these, they even have accounts on these forums from all these different clubs and create their own rumours on them too, by the way, just so you know. There's certain people who do that, which really sucks and makes it hard. Scotty said a nice comment at the start. He read my article about Galvin in Zero Tackle. Please go and give it a read. It gives you the other side of the story. He's already a halfback, so there you go. People saying he's not. Well, go read the article and it might change your mind a little bit. Yeah, Scotty, that's true. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. If you go and buy a player like that, something's got to give. But I actually do want to talk about, Scotty, you're on fire tonight, mate, and I actually want to talk about, this wasn't in our itinerary, but I want to talk about Rennie and Braith. They reckon Burton should go to being a fullback and that Preston and Kikau should get more ball. And I really think, I just think it's ridiculous fan-based commentary. I find it hard to say that because they're two legends of the game that I love watching replays of them often. But can you see why I'm a bit frustrated by that narrative, Gas?
100%, yeah.
Like the fullback thing, we've talked about that enough. Like, yeah, okay, you could put. I remember Braith played fullback once. He played terribly. Braith's another one who says he's a 5'8", he's not a half. Okay. Well, why is he playing like a halfback? If he might be a better 6, he might be a better 13. Galvin might be a better fullback than a 7. But guess what? He's one of the best 7s in our club, the way he played. And so much more improvement in him. But the one about Preston and Kikau shits me in a way because I want you to tell the people why I would be pissed off about that, Gas.
Well, you're talking about Preston and Kikau. So you're trying to get Salmon out of the picture. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. They think that Rennie and Braith have said on their podcast that the Bulldogs don't utilise their best strengths enough in attack.
I don't agree, mate. I think everything feeds off those guys as well. I mean, how many times can you keep giving it to Kikau and Preston to keep doing what they're doing? I think Preston, for me, was overmarked this year. If you look at how many times he was almost through, he was heavily watched. Everyone knew he was a threat, and he was heavily watched. And Kikau had a lot of opportunities and was our best player in most games. And it's only because of his size and his guile that he was still able to be, give the ball away or do something even. And everyone knows how much he's always a danger with his offloads and what he can do. So, yeah. And look, to be honest with you, Preston, who set up Preston all year? I mean, when he came on, Galvin was the one executing Preston as well. I mean, even in that game against Penrith, it was the Galvin Preston show. So, especially that second half. So,
look, they're saying he's underused. Who was our top try scorer last year?
Preston.
It was Jacob Preston.
12 tries.
And
he was suspended for half the year.
Look, he basically, the way they utilised him, the strategy they used for him against the Sharks early in the year, was brilliant. He scores a try, sets up another one, or he sets up two, I think.
And he goes on the left side there as well. So
playing on the left there. Yeah. And kick it. Like, their number one thing is that they're our animals in defence, both of them. They lead kick chase, they lead intensity, they lead
line
speed. They push out as hard as they can. You know, they work their absolute arse off, and Preston's getting more and more aggressive. He got picked for Australia. Do you think they're picking someone from Australia that doesn't get utilised enough? I just think it's just absolute dribble. And I'd say that, look, I'm sure I've dribbled 100 times worse than those guys have, right? Like, they know their shit, no doubt.
You haven't played first
grade. They've got to talk
though.
about stuff, but that's bullshit. Like, okay, it's like saying, let's give it to your best player every time. It doesn't work in today's game. You just get marked too heavily. You've got to invest and set your game up. It's just the way it is. And especially when you don't have Reece Walsh, or you don't have Stephen Crichton at his best physically, and when you don't have Matt Burton on the field enough because he's injured, all this sort of stuff. It really can create it just does my head in. I just don't understand it, Gas. And kick out, people are saying, well, he should run it more and I just don't know what more he can do. Like, especially when we're not holding a lot of possession, and they've got to do the defense. That's what I mean. When we're not playing that well, those two players particularly have to work so much harder in defense, and then they become less potent in attack. So
there is one thing about Kickow, though, that a lot of people sort of tend to forget. You look at the effort that he puts in every game, as you said, especially in defense, kick chase. But for his size and what he does, he still plays 80 minutes every game. Now, how many players of his size are playing in other teams 80 minutes? I can tell you not many at all. Every team has that size or big player like that, and they're always coming on and off the field during the game. But Kickow has to pace himself through a game to play the 80 minutes. And he'll know when to inject himself or not. And I think that's why for him is he focuses on that defense, and he'll know when to come in attack. But he needs to rest, and that's why the backs, when they come off the line in the first few tackles of the set, help a player like Kickow out rather than him taking those early hit-ups. You want to utilize him later on in the attacking sets.
Guys, just if you've come on late and you haven't sort of heard what we've talked about, please just go and watch it through the start, or there will be some clips posted at the end, which may tell you answer your questions for you. But welcome to Paulie and Kangaroo Killer. Have you heard any rumours of Bula? Yeah, we have. I think that's a good point. He might come for less. Joel's saying Galvin will thrive. James is saying Burton has to stay. Adam Darwich, welcome to you. He believes Burton would make a good 13. Potentially he could. He's got enough size to do it. He's definitely got enough size to do it. Yeah, I think there's a definite scenario where we could retain a Connor Tracy and retain a Bula, but you're then struggling to retain some other players as well. Something's got to give. The Dogs can't shift at the moment. They're the best in positions at the moment. Either way, it is what it is. Well, look, a lot of people would move certain players out of the side for other players, but I've had a few debates on social media regarding it. People talking about Salmon all the time still. He's a daily feature on our podcast. I might have to try and get him on the show just to let him answer some questions from and see how tough people really are. Not sure he'd be up for that, though. But
I don't think so.
no. Well, I'm pretty sure he can give as good as he takes. From what I've heard about him, but
Just ask Ricky Stewart.
just ask Ricky. But look, what people don't understand is this guy's communication. He's a leader out there. He's a communicator. He's helping people be in the right spots at the right time. He's setting the tempo. He has bad games. They all do. But if you're basing it off your stats on how many times they run the football and all this sort of shit, all I know is since Salmon come to the club, our defence on our goal line has been so much better, and he's one of the players that really drives that. And you take him out of the team and we leak points, it's just been a common denominator. When he hasn't played, we've started to leak more and more points. But people aren't into that sort of stuff, are they? Yeah, the game's changed a bit since Braith and Rennie, but look, I think you put a headline will get more people to watch your show, which will make you more money, which makes you more investable commodity. And they're a couple of great mates. They love each other. So, I don't think they're out there to hurt anyone. And they stand by everything they say as that's just their opinion and what they believe. But I've been around the media game for quite a while, and I can tell you now, you don't, if an opportunity's there, you take it. But I honestly believe that's their thoughts. But if you would actually strip it back and go, what more can these people do on our edge? Like, seriously. And if they know what they can do more of rather than just give them the ball like in under sevens, well, maybe they should tell someone how that they can utilise those two players more effectively to make Canterbury win. The how would be what I'm interested to hear, not so much the just do it. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, the back rowers. Yeah, it might be a little bit bad internet where you are, Kangaroo. There might be some bad internet in our feed as well. Sorry about that, bro. If you watch the replay, it shouldn't be as bad as that. Yeah, you can come on again for a guest appearance, Timmy. No problem, bro.
Focus on your work, mate, too.
Who wouldn't want to play for the Doggies? That's right. Yeah, Finel R2 will crack Joel. Gus has said he would. If he doesn't get injured, he'll play at some point. You think they made a bit of sense, Scotty? Oh, well, they always make sense. And look, if you believe what they're saying, like that's everyone's got their own thoughts on things. We're just a community here. But I've just given you my reasons as to why I don't think it makes that much sense to me. But and I actually watched and listened to it as well. Like, I listened to their stuff, and I suppose it sounds like I'm really putting them down, but at the end of the day, I'm just putting down one thing I didn't agree with. There's lots of things they say that I do agree with. And it's quite, anyone from the Bulldogs does anything, I'm watching it. Willie Mason in Sunny Nights. Get your head around that. He does a great job. Does an absolute marvellous job. Yeah, 24 is a nice young age to be at, but so there you go. All right. I think it's time there, Gas. What do you think?
Yeah, mate. No worries. Let's go.
Let's get on our little supporter. Welcome. How you going, Aki?
Good. Happy birthday, Aki. Aki had a birthday on Sunday. Welcome. What's happening?
18. How old is he now? 17, 18. Yeah. We're not announcing it. Well, I'll tell you what, you pass off as a 19-year-old, Aki. Lucky you don't look too much like your dad. Oh, that's what I say about my kids. No, you're a good-looking man, Gas. Don't you worry about that. Especially in high def. Look at me. I usually put a filter on, but it's not working, and I feel like I've got no makeup on. So how have you been, Aki?
Good.
You getting excited, mate?
Yeah, I'm excited for this year.
Excited? If people don't realise, Aki won tickets to the grand final because he won a competition with Emma Lawrence was doing the competition. They were all there on Channel 9 on one of the grand final shows. Was it on the Thursday night show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was live down at the
what's it called? Overseas passenger.
The overseas passenger terminal where they had the grand final fever going. They were broadcasting live on Channel 9, and he was there and had to kick a few goals and won himself some tickets to the grand final. So, yeah.
That's amazing, mate. Like, that's how good is that? Like, and it was a good grand final, even if it was two teams we don't like too much or like talking about too much. But it was definitely would have been a good day out there. So what's your thoughts on Bula?
What do you reckon with Bula?
I don't know.
Would you like to see him in the Bulldogs?
I'd like to see him in the Bulldogs next year. He'll be a good player next year if he does come.
2027?
Yeah.
Who's your favourite player?
Josh Curran.
Josh Curran. I did a big shopping list back in 2023, and I said these are the players I want. I want Josh Curran. I want Terrell May. I think I said who's the five at the half? The bloke at the Warriors, the halfback. I wanted him. Luke Metcalf. But we got Josh Curran like 2 months later. He came early because that was I wanted him for the 25 season because he wasn't off contract, but they allowed him to go early, so that was really good. But unfortunately, I think he's going to leave. Aki?
Yeah, we were fortunate last year after driving all the way up to Suncorp to watch the Bulldogs against the Broncos. Josh came over and gave his headgear to Aki after the game, so he's got.
Did he?
He's got that as a memento, and then I went back and caught up with Josh at training, and he signed it for us as well. So that was nice of him.
Oh, that's wonderful. Like, he's definitely one of the best people in our club.
Very genuine.
Yeah, you can tell that too. He just got a real beautiful personality. Who's the other two players that you really love at the Bulldogs at the moment?
Jacob Carraz and Stephen Crichton.
Can't go wrong with Jacob Carraz. I've actually got a song that I did about Jacob Carraz. I might play it when we finish tonight. Through AI, of course.
I called Carraz his brother. I called Carraz his brother, the brother that he never has. So he's a young Carraz, mate, this bloke.
He's the next Jacob Carraz. Are you playing footy, Aki, or?
Yeah. Sometimes I play footy.
At school, mate, nothing serious yet.
Oh, got to fill out yet.
Yeah.
Might play Oztag like his old man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good game, Oztag. A lot of great footballers there that have transitioned both ways too. So, what's your best memory so far as a Bulldogs fan, Aki?
Trying to think.
But while he's thinking about that, we can tell you about the first game that he went to.
Yeah.
He met a very special person in his first ever Bulldogs game. Who did you meet in your first game?
Steve Mortimer.
He sat down and had a chat with Steve Mortimer. It was during the Mortimer McCarthy Cup in 2022.
Yeah.
And Steve sat down and had a chat with him and asking him how he was and all that stuff. So it was a great memory for a young kid turning up to his first game at Acor, and there is Turvey there as he's leading to the legendary Bulldogs.
Has your dad told you much about? Have you watched any of the old games with Turvey in it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he
was one of the best. I reckon he played fullback in today's game with a 10 metres and no sort of halfback covering, because he's the best cover defender the game's ever seen. But we don't really have that too much now.
And there's not something else that Turvey was very good at that's not very big in today's game was the chip and chase.
Yes.
So old chip and chase. So we were having a look at some footage recently of that. And I also showed him a very, very famous chip and chase by not a Bulldog player, but it was a very famous call by Ray Warren, the chip and chase by Mullins, chip and chase again by Mullins. The game against the Broncos on the Friday night, if you remember one time. That was
yes, I remember that.
Go on to YouTube and have a look at that. That's a big one. But that chip and chase, I think it's underutilized still in this day and age. I think it still has some legs. But Turvey was very, very good at that.
So, Aki, you hold the dope break defence with your dad, the flag behind you there. Like, what's it like?
Yeah.
What's the atmosphere like? And how does it feel when you're at the game holding the big banner and everything?
It's really loud and it's good. Especially that first try when Lachlan Gavin scored against Parramatta. That was really loud.
Wasn't that a great day? Wasn't that a great day? I was at that game, funnily enough, with Pete Webber and Mark and Timmy was there. Yeah, what a great day that was. I'll never forget that day. And Connor Tracy played really well again. Curran played his part in that try as well. And he just come on. Look, and the game was really close. It was a really typical Canterbury Parramatta grind for 60 minutes. And we just ground them. You know, Mitchell Moses would have come out of that game feeling good, I think. But knowing like this Canterbury side is doing stuff similar to teams that were, smashing his side in the grand final in 2022. Just playing that style and, what a great day that was. Sensational day. And when Gavin scored, I even think people who weren't that happy about him coming were excited when they saw that.
If you remember, I put that footage up. I actually started to record just as he got the ball, thinking he might score, and posted that video on it. It got a lot of hits. That one. It was that moment that Lockie scores, number 23.
Yeah,
23 playing in that game. So it was a pretty very loud. But the best thing about the kennel I find is when we're doing well. I mean, the chants, the Bulldogs, just the way that it goes. Everyone that won. It's a great feeling, great camaraderie. Everyone there, pulling on for each other. It's awesome. Even that finish by Galvin against the Dragons to set up that winning try at the end with that cutout. So there's a lot of amazing stuff that we're starting to see at the game now. Just sustained success is really starting to come through. So a lot of people, Aki's age and younger are starting to see success, which, to be honest, they haven't seen. We've seen Bulldogs win grand finals. A lot of these younger kids haven't seen that. So it's a great time if you're a young Bulldog fan. Like my first memory of this kid was when he was only a couple of years old and we were at the Easter show, and I'm asking him to buy any show bag he wanted, and he picked the Bulldog show bag, and that's when I was like, could have kissed his feet. I'm like, yes, that's it. I've got him. He's here. He's home. He's done.
Yeah.
So that was a special moment as a father, knowing your young bloke wanted to buy the Bulldog show bag. It was a special time. So yeah.
I love seeing how proud you are of your son, Gas, and I know Aki's very proud of you too. I can tell, mate. And I love seeing all the posts you're putting up, and Don't Break Defence is going to be bigger and stronger in 2026 as well with you two there. So, Aki, what's your predictions for this year with the Bulldogs?
Hopefully,
another top four finish. All right, I'm going to give you a little question here. Who are the three teams you think that will improve their position on the ladder, and then I'll ask you 3 that are going to go backwards on the ladder. Who are the 3 teams that are going to improve on the ladder this year?
I'll probably say the first one, Parramatta.
Yep.
Parramatta will go all in. And then maybe Souths, if they don't get any injuries again this year. And maybe the Roosters.
The Roosters, you reckon they'll move from 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have to finish in the top 8 either. It just means improve. So improve their ladder position. What's 3 teams you think might drop their ladder position next year?
Maybe the Warriors.
Warriors, yep.
And
Well, it can't be Knights because they came last, so they can't get worse.
Maybe Canberra after losing straight sets, so maybe they'll go downhill again.
Without Fogarty.
No Fogarty. One more, buddy, just to put you on the spot.
Maybe probably Melbourne.
Melbourne. Very good, very, very good. I'll do that for everyone. I'll get your predictions on that as well, guys. So I sort of agree with the 3 teams that will improve. And I don't disagree really with any of the ones that might go backwards either. I think Manly will go backwards too.
Yep.
But, yeah, maybe Dolphins might improve a bit more as well. West might improve. Look, Dragons might improve.
It's an open season, mate.
Right.
It was a great season in 2025, and it's going to be another open season next year. It's the salary cap's doing its job right now. It's a fair playing. Everyone's, on their day, anyone can beat anyone. So it's great viewing at the moment.
One last question for Aki. What's the best crowd you've been to so far? So what's the best, other than the King's birthday game where Galvin scored, what's been the best game you've been to this year or last year?
Friday. Like the Good Friday,
Good Friday against the Rabbits.
And probably another
How
game.
good was it?
Was the Roosters game at home. That was another good one too.
It was in the rain, but we didn't have Burton, did we? Bailey Hayward. Oh, yes, we did have Burton in that game. But Bailey Hayward made that break to give the ball to kick out to get us started on the comeback.
Didn't Burton score under the post with one of the zigzag runs a bit?
Yeah. Yeah, one of the runs cutting back and beating like 6 players. Cherry did the same.
Cherry scored as well. Yep.
And Sexton too.
And that was the Marky Mark
and Marky
special
Mark
try that he scored
that day as well.
Well, that was the only points they got after half time.
That was a great game. Yeah, that would have been amazing to be at.
The Manly game was a great atmosphere as well at Allianz. That sort of 30-year anniversary game. That was a pretty special game as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks so much for coming on, Aki. Was there any comments you wanted to talk about or anything you wanted to add before you go play your PlayStation or anything?
No, I can't think of anything else.
What are you playing on the PS?
Fortnite.
What game? Fortnite.
Yeah.
And also Rugby League 26 as well.
I still haven't opened it. It's still up on me chest of drawers behind me.
There you go.
There you go. Well, shout out. No, Aki doesn't drink, mate. He'll never drink. He don't drink, buddy. He'll be like his old man. He'll drink mocktails.
That's it.
And nice. The new Hasm. All right, let's get into it.
And while you're on,
you're welcome to hang around too, Aki. Welcome to hang around as long as you want.
Hasn't used to have a
anything
different nickname at school. Mick hasn't used to have a different nickname at school before he became El Magic. He had a different nickname at school. It still started with the L, but it was not El Magic. It was El Muscle. He was very nuggety at school. El Muscle. So we used to call him El Muscle at school before he became El Magic. He was El Muscle. So, but he got an upgrade on his nickname.
I used to work with his cousin at Westpac at Surrey Hills. Yeah, so I actually bought a car off her partner, a Toyota Celica.
Yes.
There you go. So where are we on the chat, guys? Show us the headgear, brother.
He hasn't got it here, but if you go onto the Don't Break Defence page, you'll see some photos there. You'll see there Josh signing it for us afterwards. Whoop. Come in. There you go.
There it is.
Signing it there. And then there he is holding it there at Suncorp Stadium.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, we got it. And, but there it is outside of Caxton, sitting on the banner. Well, it's not coming through. Yeah, it's all right. But, so he's got it in his prize collection, mate. So it's all there for him. But good times.
Hey, guys, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, follow the Don't Break Defence page, and you get to see all that stuff. And often Gas will do live videos, so you get a feel of the atmosphere and stuff if you're playing from home. And lots of good stuff happening on the page. Does a lot with all things Bulldogs. Well, let's get back into some of the chats. Thanks to everyone who's interacted and said hello to Aki as well. Been really good. Paulie says he agrees with Brape and Rennie. We need to use our back rowers better. Too often we're running shape with nothing on them. They just lay up the back row for a spot player, give a hospital pass. Look, I don't agree, Paulie. I think there's definitely games where they could have used them better. Of course, there's going to be games where you reflect and go, we could have done that better. But as a whole, Preston was our number one try scorer. And Kickout was involved in a heap of stuff that led to tries. And sometimes it just depends how the game's going. You know, if they might want to, that might be part of the plan as well. It usually is. It's usually very much part of the plan to continue to just grind away and get things happening. I know the rugby league coach, though, like he talked about our attack a fair bit, that sometimes we be a bit predictable and only attack at certain times at certain spots. But sometimes the teams will do that. I say this all the time. It's about energy. Now, it's like this. If Reid Marnie runs every game, right, he's not going to make as many tackles. He's not going to be as effective, right? He's going to miss more tackles. If he's kicking more, it's going to tire him out as well. So all these things happen. If a team's running downhill, they've got lots of possession, well, then these players can do a bit more of that. But if the game's in a grind, the players know their roles. And sometimes it is just keep the tempo going, keep them down there. You know, I've heard people criticising Kickout for not competing for the ball and just tackling the player who gets it off a kick chase. Or people say also we don't do enough competing for kicks. And I'm like, maybe that's something we could do. But obviously the game plan is they want to nail the winger catching the footy or the fullback. And they want to turn those big, because they've kicked the ball a long way as well, they want to turn around that big forward pack and have them struggle to get back on side, make their wingers and fullbacks work it off their own line, tire out their team, and then everything becomes easy. You know what I mean? Like, And then people have these comments, oh, too often we're just running shape. Okay. But I could criticise every side about that. And as we also say, you don't always have a Reece Walsh. Sometimes they probably shouldn't have done that poorly. They probably should have went to Kikau or went to Preston or Curran or whoever was bloody out there. But that's rugby league. You're never going to be perfect all the time. But as far as I'm concerned, we utilise our edge to our advantage a hell of a lot. I just don't. I'd love to get a bit more, obviously, but I don't see how it's going to be consistently possible all the time. But who knows? Maybe Galvin and Woods and Burton will enable that to happen a little bit more. Paulie also added, we should be running better plays with them like a double lead, as SJ did this for the Wars. But that's the halves. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a team game, Paulie. You're sort of answering your own question, you know. It doesn't just happen. So, you got any thoughts on that, mate?
No, mate.
Mates?
It's all pretty straightforward, like you said, mate.
Yeah.
Nothing much more to add there, mate. We've already covered enough of that one. Is that Dr.
Has any
George
other
Proponis?
team had a doctor as captain? Who was a doctor?
Dr. George Proponis?
Oh, that's right. There you go.
And would that also be the New South Wales captain as well, wasn't he? Or he played for Australia
Well, I
too,
think
didn't he? Australia, I think.
that might be a good quiz question.
I don't think you could call
Timmy
Martin
says number
Miller
20.
a doctor, but he wasn't a captain.
James, you guys talk about Lamb, Mortimer, relax.
We can talk about them. It's all right. We've seen them play.
Mortimer,
Hey.
Lamb.
And Bullfrog in the middle.
Legend. Mick Potter. Is that Stephen Folkes? Michael Hagan, Brian Batiste, Paul Langmack, Peter Tunks, Andrew Farrer, Paul Kelly, Chris Mortimer, Peter Mortimer. Is that Mullane? David Gillespie, Billy
Cement.
Johnston,
Yeah.
and Warren Ryan. Yeah. I'm going to talk about those players forever. You know why? Because they're legends. And when you're a member of the Bulldogs, you're sharing in a legacy with those people on that photo. And that's what it's all about.
Lucky he threw in the LOL. It's all good.
James says West Titans Cowboys won't improve for sure. I think West might, but I'm not sure about Titans or Cowboys, but we'll see how they go. Jamie loves El Magic. And so do I, brother.
Hasn't El Mazri tackled me in a game of Oztag? I said, man, it's not
Here's
rugby
Jason.
league.
Welcome, Jason. How you going, mate? My mate Jason lives up here. We actually spent New Year's together the other night, so that was great. He says he'd like to know what sort of strategy Canterbury and their coach are going to implement to beat the mighty Brisbane Broncos. What do you reckon? How are we going to beat the Broncos in 2026?
Leo Thompson. He's going to take care of Payne Haas.
Well, there you go.
There's the strategy.
Look, it comes down to winning the forward battle. It's as simple as that. Simple as that, playing the game where we want to play. our young guys will be a year better, but so will the Broncos. I expect the Broncos, if they aren't mind fucked, oh, sorry for swearing, meaning if their young spine doesn't get into their own heads and they don't try and win off every play, they've got the forward pack and the back line and to stay in the top 4 for many, many years. I rate their forward pack above any in the competition. And what I think is that to beat them, the Bulldogs are obviously going to have to execute their game plan. And it's a pretty simple plan of, making sure. Well, look, the Bulldogs are the best defensive side from when a team catches the footy and where a team kicks on their fifth. We've been the best side in that department for the last 2 years. And considering we're apparently losing the ruck all the time, that's the area we'll need to continue to thrive at. But I think we probably need to do a little bit more as far as take a few more risks to beat the Broncos. We saw that in 2024, where we played that beautiful, expansive game that people sort of want to see every match. But in saying that, you've got to have everyone fit and firing. And look, we're going to have a couple of opportunities to beat the Broncos in 2026. And I've got a feeling we might play them more than twice this year. So thank you for the lovely question, Jason. And thanks for being a member of All Things Bulldogs. Joel reckons that Bronson Cherry's going to have a breakout season. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, what do you think, mate? For what? Bronson Cherry having a breakout season. Yeah,
have a good season this year.
I think he's still getting his form back. I think he's still very, very strong defensively, but I think he still hasn't got himself going attacking wise in the way that he wants to play. I think he's probably the best try that he scored last year was the one against Manly where he sort of carried a few over the line, including Tom Trbojevic when he beat them. I think that's going to give him more confidence to keep believing in the speed that he's got and the strength that he's got to do it more often. So yeah, he'll keep getting better. Bronson, still young. Physiotherapist.
Marty's a psychologist, isn't he? I'm not sure.
Physiotherapist.
Scotty says
Physio.
smash the Broncos.
It was a
he's
physiotherapist. Physio, yeah.
There you go. All right. Yeah, thanks, brother. No worries. All right. So, Mitchell Woods. Let's talk about Mitchell.
What have you heard, mate? What have you heard?
So, look, guys, we talked about this last week, and it's funny, the little short that we posted around the grounds about Mitchell Woods. Why isn't that staying there? That we talked about, that I found it alarming, and people didn't see why, about numerous people. I don't know what's going on with me thing here, but anyway, sorry about that, guys. Look, people were saying that Mitchell Woods should start at 7 and Galvin should be the 6 and blah, 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 blah. Keeps going to Cassius Tia, but anyway. Woods hasn't been training with the main group. That came through on X today. So Gus said that he should be right to feature in our trials, or one of our trials, which is really good news. And so obviously, being only his second sort of full year training with the top 30 squad, it's difficult. it's difficult. And they've been working on this kid to get his body ready for NRL footy for a number of years. And they have taken their time. They haven't played him unnecessarily in games. They haven't listened to noise when we've struggled to bring him in. They've prepared him to the absolute minute to play NRL. And look, this bloke on social media was saying that Gus told him at the races that, Woods won't be the halfback in Vegas, but he'll be coming in real early in the season. A lot of people, I think that guy's having a fantasy, but we'll have to see. Look, the kids being prepared, they've paid good money to keep him at the Bulldogs instead of going to play AFL and other places, and they're going to give him every opportunity. But people just need to chill out. Galvin's nearly played 50 matches. Burton's still our best 6 in the club. It doesn't matter whether they're the 6 or the 7 or the whatever. It's all about having the best balanced team on the paddock to win games of rugby league when they need to be won. And I trust our coaching staff and that are going to do that. But Mitchell Woods, I don't think is in the picture to play 7 until maybe the back end of, I reckon they'll give, barring injury, they'll give Galvin and Burton at least 10 weeks, which is what most teams usually do, unless they're really failing badly or something like that, which I can't see happening. To me, failing badly would be to have lost 8 matches or something. Although other people would say, that's striving for mediocrity, that you should be winning, 8 matches is good. Winning 5 matches isn't good enough. That sort of stuff that people talk about. It just all depends about the context of the match and what happens within that 80 minutes. But, that's any thoughts on Mitchell Woods, mate?
My gut feeling has been the same for the last sort of few weeks and months. I think he's going to potentially feature during Origin time, and it could be, someone that was coming off the bench. But I think depending on what happens with this rule change, so apparently with that rule change, they're going to be trialing that in the trials to see how those 4 changes look, and if they do come in, then they might roll it out. But if they do go to a 19, Woods could be someone that would be sitting there in that additional 6-man bench and may feature earlier than expected because of that, if we do have an injury in the halves or something like that. But I think he'd be potentially a bench player and potentially around Origin time if everything, subject to injuries and form, etc. But I don't think he's someone that they're going to be rushing into the team or anything. That would have happened already. I think he needs to still get his feet in New South Wales Cup, keep his form, build on what he started last year and go from there. And, similar to what they actually did for Sexton as well in 2024. They sort of started him, in New South Wales Cup. They had Hutchison in there when he got ready what they wanted to see from him. They brought him in. Same thing may happen for Mitch Woods. He just get yourself ready, and if the opportunity comes up and he's needed, then I'll bring him in. If not, then so be it. It depends on how the team's going.
Yeah, look, James has come in with something which sounds a little bit weird. That's just how I perceive it, brother. No disrespect. 10 weeks, that's still too soon. Woods might not get a run ever if a young gun in the NRL becomes available. Look, that sounds like a bit of a loaded statement that the Bulldogs are just buying anyone that they can, which I don't agree with. We got a Lachlan Galvin at $700,000. Parramatta offered him more and longer deal. We got Leo Thompson for less than the Raiders offer, and he wanted to play for more. We needed forwards. while we're still developing them. And we've brought players that have no other clubs have wanted. No one was chasing Turpin previously. Now, I know Manly were interested at the end of his contract, and we give him a 1-year extension. He's taken it. No one wanted, no one was really chasing Salmon or Connor Tracy or Josh Curran or any of these players. No one, even Stephen Crichton, no other team was talking to him. No other team talked to kick out. No one was talking to Burton. The Bulldogs have strategically got themselves out of the ashes, off the bottom of the ladder, bringing in lots of young players, bringing in the Max Kings, who nearly gave the game away, bringing in the Kurt Manns, who, you know, if he retired at the end of the Newcastle at 31 or something years old, no one would have blinked an eye. Now he's what, 32, 33 now, maybe older, and in the best form in his career since coming to the Bulldogs. So, you know, who have we bought? Did we buy Mitchell Moses? Did we buy Jahrome Bula? I know they said we were offering these players a lot of money, but I also think the Bulldogs never really said officially they were chasing any of them, and are quite happy as part of the recruitment wars to be tied to every single signing in the comp, which is media-based. That's what the media does because it's easy. Oh, the Bulldogs are interested. The Dragons have to be interested. The Eels have got to be interested now. Perth are interested. PNG will be interested. West were interested. You know, every single they're the teams, right, that have got to buy new players all the time, apparently. And I don't know if I've misinterpreted what you've said here, brother, but I will say that
read the next comment. Mick, read the next comment. Read the next comment as well.
Okay, if that young half-like from the Storm become available, do you think the Dogs would say no? Are you talking about Jonah Pezze, who has gone to Parramatta and Brisbane for 3 years? Braith's kid? Yeah, so we weren't interested in Jahreme Bula, even though he played an amazing game in the semi-final and more than held his own. No, we weren't interested. You think we're out there buying players willing? If opportunities come up in your cap and you can act now, of course you act. Any team would act. But you're making out like this. Your comment to me was loaded. And that's just how I've perceived it. If you're talking to me face to face, we might be having a completely different sort of tone on the conversation. That's the problem with chats. You don't always interpret things or comprehend how the person means it. But what I will say is that the reason I do what I do is to bloody shoot these narratives down because they don't hold sway. We had this war chest for years, but who did we actually buy? How many $1 million players are at the Bulldogs, may I ask? We've only got one now that's close to that amount. Crichton, and when he came to the club, he was on 800. Kickout on 800. Burton came on 550, extended to 750, right, with incentives. Thompson, 800. How many $1 million players have we got, mate? So we're just buying every young player on the market. Yes, we're out there getting David Bryantons. We got Cassius Tia, gave him an opportunity. Didn't cost us much. We've given opportunities to young players. We brought in Carla Luapu. Now, we paid a $500,000 transfer fee, but that didn't come from the Canterbury-Bankstown Leagues Club. That didn't come from the Bulldogs members. There was a private sponsor who paid that. And he was also given a whole heap of other sort of kosher as well. And really got fast-tracked into the NRL. And now he's not playing NRL because he's injured. but that was an opportunity for the club because we had plenty of money. And, you know, we had Kyle Flanagan, right? Mitch Woods was 16 at the time. You know, like, what are we supposed to do? We're bringing we've got our juniors. We're bringing in other kids from other areas because we've only got the 13 junior clubs, right? We've got our pathways on the mid-north coast and Coffs Harbour and stuff. We've sponsored us. We've got a partnership with a New Zealand school that produced, you know, Sean Johnson and a heap of other players from New Zealand. We've got our sponsorship partnerships now with Fiji as well, which is really good. We have to do that because Penrith have got 14,000 juniors, and a lot of them are really good. We've got, 3,000 on a good year, that includes our girls as well. That's just in our area, right? So what are we supposed to do? Competing with the Broncos, who have got 15,000 juniors signed up for this year already. How are you supposed to compete when you've got a third the amount of kids? You have to have a mixture of signing the right people at the right time. You've got to have people come in that you know you can trust to do a job and play a role. And you've got to have the kids coming from other areas to put pressure on the ones we've got in our system to make them feel vulnerable, to make them feel like they're being overlooked. Because the ones who handle that pressure and ascend when that happens, they're the ones who become our long-term Bulldogs players from our local junior clubs. And it's not always a good story. And as Gus says, 2% of them make it, 2 in 100. Yet people are so fixated in this bloody bullshit that we're out there trying to steal players or take any young player that's on the market. And if that was the case, we could have got, you know, we've got kids who we've got people in our system with really strong relationships with heaps of young kids across the game. Suafal Longo, you know, great mates with some of the juniors that were in our club. We never chased him. We didn't chase every young kid out there. Galvin came on the radar. We got him. Mitchell Woods. Why wouldn't you fight for him? Right? I just don't get it. I don't get where these burning interpretations come from people. You know, I read it and hear it every day, and that's why we do all things Bulldogs, because I'm going to stick up for our club. You know, and never apologise for that, ever. Scotty says Kurt Mann's playing the best footy of his life. 100%, brother. All right, let's keep going with this, James. Gas. Do you think we just flick players away if someone better turns up?
No. It's horses for courses. At the end of the day, what we do is a business. At the end of the day, the Bulldogs, it's all about success. Success drives everything in the club, everything that you do. The Bulldogs are looking at what's the best formula for success, whatever it might be, whether it's the coaching staff or they've already made changes to that this year. They've brought new coaches in. Everything about success is what they do in the club. Players are no different. They have to bring in these players. Not always the players you've got are going to do the job. If it's not working in one area, you're going to look elsewhere. Mitch Woods is still untested in NRL, hasn't played a game of NRL. People talk about him as if he's already playing Origin. He's no one at the moment. He may be someone. We all hope so, but he's no one at the moment. He hasn't done nothing yet. He hasn't proven anything yet other than be very good at his age. Unfortunately, a lot of players have also had that kind of career at a young age. They've come in, they've shown a lot of promise, but sometimes it doesn't eventuate, it doesn't come out to much after that. They have they're Australian schoolboys captain or something, but they have a good career or nothing special. We're trying to get him right, get him ready for that. Now, if he wants to stay with the Bulldogs and play, great. We'll help him get there. If he's good enough, he'll become someone. But if he wants to just play first grade and he doesn't care where it is, and the Bulldogs are trying to be patient with him and get him right, and he wants to go, then go. Same as what happened now with Jonah Pezzett. When Munster and when those guys sort of re-signed, that's it. He goes, I'm out of here. I want to play first grade. I don't want to wait around. And off he went. When Jahreme Hughes ended up locking in his contract, off he went. So players, at the end of the day, it's all a business. Now, the Bulldogs have had a lot of players come in and go. If you look at our roster from 2022, 2023 to what we are now, we've turned the whole thing over. We had some good players come through that were, started this ball rolling. Nick Kotrick, and we had, obviously Josh Adoko. All these players come in when we still hadn't done much yet. But now we're a destination club now. People want to come to us. And they've just, as you've just alluded to, they're coming to us for less as well. So now we're a team that people want to come to because they see us on the way up. So it's a business. People want to play in successful teams. If it's not all about the money and you want to have success and you want to build a career, people want to be at the Bulldogs. Now, some people get too excited, too eager. So like you said, 2% of players are making it. Not every one of these juniors we've got is going to play first grade. It's reality. There's a lot of players like you. Mike was highlighted a lot for all of you who've listened to his podcast and even seen some of his videos. He highlights a lot of these kids that are playing in these junior, lower grades that don't even get a cut, don't even get promoted to the next level. And a lot of them are not even getting any feedback. There's no comment. They go to the end of the year, then they get told, sorry, we don't need you anymore. You're not moving to the next level. It's tough out there. A lot of kids want to play first grade. It's tough out there. Does it mean that the Bulldogs are looking at Lucky Galvin, ideal situation? Came on the market. Gus can say whatever he likes about him whenever he wants as a commentator. But when he came on the line and he said, I wanted to leave the Tigers, anyone would want to listen. And if you listen to Lucky Galvin, he was this close to going to Parramatta. It didn't mean he was coming to the Bulldogs. It was only his chat with Seraldo and his ex-coach from Westfield that basically got him to come to the Bulldogs. And he's a mature 19-year-old at the time or 20-year-old now. They're not just because Mitch Woods is the same age doesn't mean he's at the same level. Everyone's got a different level, different age. Freddie Fittler started at 16. So I think everybody just needs to be a little bit patient and just trust the system, trust what's going on. At the end of the day, the Bulldogs, like every other team, are trying to employ people that are going to win games and have success and have a great culture. And I think that's what the Bulldogs are looking at, no different than anyone else. But for me, I trust what they're doing and I'm happy with the way they're going. If someone they feel is not ready or is not going to be the player they want, let them go. If someone else is ready and he's there and they can bring them into the club, sure enough, bring them in. Like you mentioned, Killer Man there and these other players. When the Bulldogs recruited these players, they didn't just sign these players because of who they are. People were saying, why all these utilities? They went and asked and found out about these players and what they were like as individuals, culture-wise, training-wise, all of these things. That was more important to them than just, he's got some ability. That was more important, and that's what the Bulldogs are doing now. Galvin was in that same mold. They could see what he wanted. He was hungry, and that's why he's at the club. So I don't think that every player that comes on the market is a potential, and it's going to take away. If Mitchell Woods is going to be the next big thing, he will be the next big thing. No one's going to stop that, whether it's for the Bulldogs or someone else. So, everyone's going to have their turn if it's going to be coming. That's it. But it's a tough road out there. Not everyone's going to make it. It's not easy, but you just have to keep putting your best foot forward. And we've spoken about it before. Look at Jacob Carraz. Didn't even get locked in with the Bulldogs. Had to go and play at Newcastle. Whatever, came into the Bulldogs on a training trial and managed. Now he's going to become an Origin player and he's an international for Lebanon and all sorts of things. So you don't know which way. You just got to keep, as a player, as a youngster, keep putting your best foot forward. Be patient. Your time will come if it's meant to come. That's it. But don't just expect it to be handed to you. People expect that in supporters as well. Oh, he should just be playing. It doesn't work that way, guys. Just keep the patience and let them come.
Yeah, really well said, mate. And we'll finish off that in a second. James is still James still sort of basically wants to debate the point, and he can only sort of do it in his little sort of chat there. So to finalise my point is, yes, the NRL is a game of hot potato. No, of course it is. You've only got so many spots. You've always got people coming through, and you've got people who are struggling to hold on, and you've got other competitions throughout. It is always a moving piece. Your plans always change. No one's denying that, and no one's that stupid to believe that. But the good sides have the greatest stability in their roster for a reason. And when you're so far down the pack like we were, you have to turn that squad over pretty quickly, which was done very quickly in the right way. A lot of promises were broken that were made by others, obviously, even by the people there now have made some promises they haven't been able to keep, because that's how the people on the end of it see it. But at the end of the day, good sides keep the core of the players of the team that are going to win them a comp or have them competing. And there's always collateral damage. You want to have a spine that you can keep together for as long as possible that's going to be able to develop together and win a comp. Penrith have done that. Melbourne have had pretty much a similar spine for a very, very long time. Now, they've just lost Pappenhausen, but he missed a lot of games anyway. Their half, Jonah Peze, who is he the young gun half? Have Melbourne got another young gun half? I've not heard about him. Is there another young gun half at Melbourne that they're talking about?
Logo, but he's not a half. But
he's a fullback.
He's more a fullback. So
this is how it works at Canterbury. If a player and a manager ring up Gus and say, we want to play for the Bulldogs, can we have a meet and agree? And all right, let's see where we're at. They come join together, they have a talk, and they have a Chinese meal or whatever it is. And Gus finds out if the player's a good person, if they're going to fit within our culture, and then finds out what they want, what they expect to earn. Now, if that thing isn't going to align, and they know that from the start, they're probably not going to have a meeting. But if they're going to fit in with our squad, and they're ready for NRL, and they're ready to make us a better team and build us a better legacy, of course he's going to talk to people. Of course. But no one was. But the reason I'm saying it is no one was talking to the players that Canterbury were talking to. We've brought so many players to this club that wanted to come here for a start, didn't want to talk to anyone else, and a whole. We haven't had to really go out there and fight hard to get players that we wanted. There had to be an intention to come to the place, first of all, a desire to be a part of our system. And if there's any sort of sniff that the person is more just involved in, if they're not all about footy and they're about money, they're not going to come to the Bulldogs. Simple as that. So, look, I get your point. Yeah. Anyway, James, I think we've said enough on it, brother. The game is a hot potato. Of course it is. But the good sides keep the core of their sides together for a long time, and they have their juniors progressing, filling spots. They have an order to things, and it's not like the Panthers lost a player on big money to bring in a young kid from another system to fill a hole, whilst having a heap of their future spine players just decimated by other clubs. And that's what clubs are doing now. They're getting kids younger more so than getting ready-made people to join their club, because it doesn't work. The Dragons just signed Keon Kalamatangi for 27. Now, he's not going to fix their problems but if the Couchman brothers and King Tongia and that other massive beast they've got who's was in the same team as Latu. If they all, plus that other fella with the blonde hair who's a fucking champion playing in the back row, I forget his name, but he's going to be really good. If those guys have developed this year and really step up and get games under their belt and get seasoned in the middle to do their thing, Kaloamatangi will join a side which is ready to go, you know what I mean? But the Bulldogs weren't going to go and buy Kaloamatangi because we've already got young players we've identified and built through our system that are going to do the same thing. When it comes to our halves, there's a whole bunch of kids there who want to play halfback for the Bulldogs. And so it's not just Galvin, it's not just Woods, it's not just Burton. There's a whole bunch, and not all of them are going to make it. But we're not just going to go out there and buy a bloody halfback. We don't need to now. Unless the ones we've got don't perform. Simple as that. But if Jahrome Hughes comes on the market, you reckon we're going to talk about him? No way. I can't see it. We weren't interested in Tino. We weren't interested in Huss. Our sponsor was. Our sponsor was interested in those players, but not the club. Anyway, let's move on.
I think Scotty's saying that Lomax held onto the hot potato too long and got burnt big time.
Well, there you go. And yeah, I sort of feel a bit sorry for him, mate.
Apparently he made a call with they had a possibility that to go to the Storm that the Eels were approached about that they had to knock back.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, someone asked me today whether we would get Lomax, and I'm like, well, he's not allowed to come to us. And Gus does like Lomax. But see, look, I might be misrepresenting you, James, but it seems you think that Gus is just going to go and buy every new shiny thing that he sees, and it's just not the case. It's never been the case. He brings people in with a real plan in mind, and Serrato has a lot more say than people think. You know, Gus just sits there and uses his expertise to find out the young kids which are going to handle the pressure to be able to become NRL footballers and make it. And how many of these young kids have come out and ever said a bad word about Gus Gould? Name me one. You know, there might be a few retention managers and stuff that get a bad rap, but most people that have made it in the NRL are so grateful that they met Gus Gould. And that's the same with people when they talk about Nick Politis as well. They never have a bad word to say about him with what he's taught them as humans. And I think this whole rhetoric that we hear about Gus Gould is all because of a Super League war and just a commitment to fake headlines and false narratives that are easy to serve up to people. And because Gus is a bit of a little bit confident and arrogant, and people just decide they hate his guts and anytime and make up their mind. But anyway, I don't think he loses sleep over it. But
No.
No. You know, my mum used to love him. My other family members hated him. You know.
Look at the turnout he got to his 50 years in rugby league last year. It shows you that what people really appreciate.
He actually passed away, I think, the Chinese meal, dude. What is the charge? Eating a meal? Succulent Chinese meal? Get your hand up, mate. Oh, thanks, champion. We love you too, brother. All right, there you go. Sure, at least you, mate. At least you're respectful, not like some of the other people we've had on here.
But they're not on here anymore.
Do we think Bula will go to the Dogs? Don't know about it, but I'd say we're definitely interested. And there's people on West's fan forum saying that he will be coming to us. So there you go.
Go on and listen to the podcast earlier. You'll hear us have a chat about it too. ZTK.
Yeah, get on early, bro, and listen to what we talked about. So, you meant the Bulla ice cream. I actually bought some Bulla ice cream today, actually, the chocolate fudge bars. Really, really good. So there you go. I need to have one when we're finished, or I might go for a walk and walk the dog. We'll see what happens. Yeah, he did. Sorry about that, Scotty. Let's talk competition. Aki's going to enter this competition too, I hope. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
So it'll be the best, name your best, the 19 players, first of all. But you got to name them in order, right? So the 17 that are going to start the game. Now, if it's extended to a 19-man bench for the actual game with the rule change, well, it'll just be your 19. But you need to name the 17 you think will run out onto the field. It'll be named 1 hour before the game starts at Vegas, and will run out onto the field. And if you get that correct, well, the people who get closest to it, they'll be able to win a prize. I'll have some merch, some Dogfather Media merch. I've got an All Things Bulldogs 2026 calendar with photos of Bulldogs players on it. It's all right. We've got a whole heap of stuff. I've still got some license plates. I think I've got Jacob Carraz and the Fox. Or I've got Preston and the Fox, one of those two. Or if someone wants something specific, I can do them up. I can actually create, those canvases and stuff like that. You just need to get one that you put it on top of, or I can probably even get that organised as well. Lots of stuff we can do. All right, James, no problem, brother. Have you got your team ready yet, Gas, that you think they're going to pick?
I've got a good idea about what I would pick, but I think we'll have a good episode about that as well in the lead up.
Yep.
And for anyone who's asking as well, I think Aki was mentioning earlier the Bulldogs against the Dragons game at Jubilee.
Yes, Cowboys.
Oh, the Cowboys. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Cowboys. Yeah, they've released the tickets for the game against the Cowboys
trial
at Jubilee. The one that's at 5:30 on Saturday, the trial game. Yeah, I think the tickets start from $15.
Yeah, $15.
Yeah. So
Great
anyone who's keen to go see the Dogs. So have a look. The banner will be out there. We'll be out there supporting the team at Jubilee, Bulldogs versus Cowboys. So that'll be tickets start from $15. They've gone live today. So
and are we playing a week later? A week later, we're playing the Knights in Newcastle.
Correct.
And then we've got a 2-week lead into Vegas.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks before as well. Yeah. So I think the 7th. In 1 month we play our first game. So tomorrow month.
It'll be really interesting. Might be a good question for us to ask Gus on Twitter if anyone wants to do it. The more people that ask, the more likely is to say, are we likely to see more of our first grade squad in the first trial or the second trial? Sometimes he might not be open about that because they don't want to affect ticket sales. But all I say, guys, is get there and watch watch our new young players coming through. There should be a few of them playing in both. And I would suggest we might see a player like young Finau Latu in both trials. I I reckon we'll see probably 5 players play both trials, and the majority of our squad will play in one of the trials. I'm just not too sure. I'm thinking might be the Newcastle game, might be the first grade squads, more of them, but I'm not too sure. Usually the first trial is with the younger kids, with more of the younger generation playing than the older guys. So you think that last trial they want to have a real decent one to get ready for Vegas. So I'm thinking the Cowboys game at Cogra might have a lot more of our younger kids getting an opportunity, and it'd be great if there was thousands and thousands of supporters there to watch it.
Well, there is something unique about the game against Newcastle at Newcastle. So for all of those guys and girls that want to be romantic and plan something special, a trip to Newcastle, it is going to be Valentine's Day when they play. Trip to Newcastle, and you take your partner to see the Bulldogs play against Newcastle in Newcastle. You spend the week, you spend the night there. That's something romantic for those guys who want to keep their footy fix and do something special. So especially if you're not going to Vegas, it can be the mini Vegas for you before that. So there's a Valentine's gift, guys. Prepare that. Jump ahead.
Yeah, so sorry, I just got distracted there for a bit. Yeah, looking forward to all of that. Got the trials coming up. Have we covered everything on the agenda tonight?
Yeah, I think we're all good, mate.
We're all good.
And you're going to put some more details about your competition later?
Yeah, so what we'll do is I'll actually do a video where I explain how the competition works, the rules and what you got to do. We probably want to promote all the channels as best as we can, so it'd be great if we can get some likes and shares and stuff, and anything like that. If you become a member, great as well. And what I might say is that if members in the competition might be will get a better range to choose from as far as a reward goes as well. But yeah, just finalising all that. Not sure, but I reckon I'll bring that out this week. And thank you so much, James. Thank you, Jamie's just done a super chat for $5. So thank you so much for chipping in again, mate. And look, if you win anything, mate, I'm just going to drive it straight to you. So, and I'll say now, if you win the comp, you'll have a choice of a jersey to pick as well. It just might fit you and your entire family at once, because I'm unfortunately they're bloody 7XLs on these O'Neill jerseys.
Yeah,
the last ones I was in the 4XLs. Like, I think it's because they got to be tight and they try and make them like lifelike for the players and stuff. Jamie says if I could make it to a game in New South Wales, I would, but I've got tickets to all 3 Suncorp games. That's my Vegas. Yeah, well, we definitely got to catch up, and I think that's what we'll do, guys, is try and organise like an All Things Bulldogs catch up for these games, even if it's just in the members bar somewhere, an hour or two before the game, if that's possible. And also try and meet if they're going to have a sign-on day anywhere. I reckon they'll pick one of the games. I've said that a few times where they'll actually have like a signing day or a members day or something like that. I'm actually trying to contact the Bulldogs to see if I can get my one of my sponsors and employers and all clients to actually cater something for them as well. So there you go. I don't think they will, but you don't get if you don't ask. Scotty's already got a team out there. We'll go through that quickly. How much time we got? Probably got 2 minutes left, guys.
Yeah.
Connor Tracy, Jacob Carraz, Bronson Cherry, Stephen Crichton, Marcello Montoya, Matt Burton, Lachlan Galvin, Max King, Bailey Haywood, Leo Thompson, Viliami Kickout, Jacob Preston, Kurt Mann, Jamin Salmon, JH. Jamin Salmon, Satili Tupanua, Josh Curran. Who's JH?
Where's he going on the bench?
Who's JH? Who is it? Bulldogs players that are JH, Scotty.
What's he got a
I reckon he might have been trying to type Harry Hayes.
the only one that would be Harry Hayes on the bench. We don't have a JH.
Yeah, I think it's a mistyped it. I
Not
think
unless-
it's Harry Hayes.
Not unless Jared Hargraves has come back to the club.
Oh, Hughes.
Sam Hughes.
Jay Hughes. It's Sam Hughes.
Sam Hughes.
He's left He's left me mate Harry Hayes out of the team. You can't leave Harry out.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Harry might be in front of JC at the moment.
Harry Hayes. All right.
All right. That's all right, mate. You've had a good night, Scotty. Too good, mate.
Oh, I've got all these little sounds I can play and stuff. Look at this. Drum roll. Every time Gas speaks. Oh, having a bit of heart.
That's like your music, mate.
That was actually a Harry Hayes song there, but this one's a King Perez song. You like that, guys?
Good way to sign off, mate. Good way to sign off.
Good way to sign off. James has had another crack. Oh, Jake, he'd pay $500 to get me out to tell me off. All right, brother.
He can do it on a super chat if he wants. I'm sure we can make it happen.
Look, if you do a $500 super chat, I'll give you a call as a dog father, and yeah, we'll have a nice little chat, and then I'll throw you in the hole for a few days just to sort you out. All right. You've left Harry Hayes for number 18. Cheers, every brother. And Jamie Teasdale, I said, love, thanks, mate. A pretty good Bulldogs collection going. Love that. Even got a Jonathan Thurston card in a Bulldogs jersey, mint condition.
Nice.
I'll tell you what. All assets, mate. They're all assets. All right. Well, that's it from us tonight. Join the channel. Pay me more money. It all helps. And thanks again, Jamie. Thank you, Aki. Great meeting you, mate, on here. Good to see you, mate. Champion like your dad. Look at this guy. He keeps going. He's got to have the last day.
All good,
Yeah,
mate.
I reckon, do I?
Let's go, buddy. See you all next week, boys and girls. Take care.
I love you, James.
See you later.
Take care, brother.
See you later.
And I love you guys. Go the Dogs.
Go the doggies.
Lost in darkness, the Bulldogs lost their way. Losing losing everything and forgot how to play. Along came the kid with long